Tucker, who had RFK Jr. on for a lengthy sit down, which I plan to watch in its entirety because the very few clips that I saw were absolutely amazing. One in particular that we can't share here because it's just too long was about RFK's views on the environment and the spirituality of the environment for him. It really spoke to Tucker. They both got a little bit weepy over that part of the conversation. In fact, you've got to watch the whole thing.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, it's an amazing clip. I wish I could play it, but there was no way to cut it. And we can't play like a 5.5 minute clip on our show.
Yeah.
But do have some highlights like this one, for example, when they talked about declassifying documents related to JFK's assassination.
Your joint appearance on Friday, President Trump introduced you by saying that he plans to, if elected, establish a commission to declassify the remaining documents around your uncle's murder in 1963.
Yeah.
And I think everyone at this point knows the truth, which is the CIA is implicated in that. Those documents protect CIA, maybe among others.
Well, whether they do or not, I mean, it's odd that they've not allowed them to be released.
What could possibly be the explanation?
More than 60 years after my uncle's death, almost 65 years. 62 years after his death. And there's none of the people who were implicated in that crime are alive now.
Yes.
And the last ones have died off in the last year or two. And so it clearly is to protect the institution.
Yes.
And that's wrong. It's just wrong. And it's wrong for a Democrat and it's wrong for a Republican.
It's just interesting, though, that a bipartisan list of presidents, these 6 decades, have kept those files classified.
Well, you and I have both. I was astonished that Trump didn't declassify them because he promised to during the campaign.
That was Mike Pompeo who did that.
Yeah, and that I talked to President Trump for the first time about that this week. And
what did he say?
He said that Mike Pompeo begged him to. And I don't think I'm telling tales out of school here.
No,
I think he told the same thing to you.
That's true.
But he said Mike Pompeo called him and said this would be a catastrophe to release these. You need to not do it. And
I want to say again, I think Mike Pompeo is a criminal. So that's my view. He's threatened to sue me for saying that, but I hope he will because that's true. But that kind of tells the whole story right there, right? That the CIA is.
Well, yeah. So that's
why would the CIA be trying to keep these files classified if they had nothing to do with the murder? I don't really get that.
Yeah.
I mean. That's explosive right there, right?
Right?
Because he, Mike Pompeo, if you release these, it's going to be, catastrophic. Why? Because what it does, it just shows us how corrupt the deep state is, how corrupt the government is. We already freaking know that.
It. Yeah, it confirms it.
So many of us already know it. We know it. Tell us something we don't know. Okay, just show us the freaking documents. We pay for these people. We paid for Mike to have a job. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's the thing. A lot of these people, they get so in the swamp that they're like, you can't let people know what's actually happening. We know. just tell. And this is the thing. Like when people will look at you and say, you're a conspiracy theorist. No, I'm just ahead of the game. I'm just telling you things that you're going to find out later on. But you go ahead and call me that. You call me a tinfoil hat wearer or whatever, because I'll proudly wear it. Because in about 10 years, you'll catch up. This is I just at this point, I'm fine with people calling me that because listen, people used to say the CIA killed these people. CIA did it, and they were called conspiracy theorists, right? They were called tinfoil hat wearers. Well, looks like they were right.
I mean, if there's nothing to hide, then just
release it.
See.
And he's so right. Everybody's dead now. What does it matter? Well,
right.
They're protecting the institution. Well, that is terrifying.
Yeah, it really, really is. He also, RFK also talked about just the switch out of Biden with Kamala and what he thinks about Kamala's competence.
In one party, selected a man with dementia to lead the free world and then turned around and picked a woman who cannot give an interview. She cannot defend her vision or America's record in the world. And then she gave this, Vice President Harris gave this speech at the convention that was written by neocons. And they had CIA directors talking at the Democratic Convention, military people talking at the Democratic Convention. If you really look at what's happening in the Democratic Party today, it's a party that the word demos in Greek means people. But it's a party that's lost faith in the people. It's a party that needs ironclad control. So they didn't trust anybody to have a real election. They got rid of the primaries because they didn't trust the people. They then handpicked Vice President Harris with no election, no even pretense of election, because they didn't trust the people. And, they're the party now of censorship.
Yep.
She has no vision. Like he talks about her and she doesn't have a vision. He talks about vision there. She's an empty vessel. She's just a person in a suit that they put in that position. And so when I see, friends of mine who are like, oh, finally my daughter has somebody who's going to be in office that looks like her, Chasten, Pete Buttigieg's husband says that. Finally, our daughter has somebody in office or will possibly have she'll have somebody in office that looks like her. I'm like, why would you be proud of that? Because she's just an empty suit. Mm-hmm. It's an embarrassment to women that they just took this woman who is malleable and moldable and she has no backbone. She doesn't have a vision. She doesn't have any thoughts of her own. That doesn't represent me because I say what I think and I do what I want. And that's what I want my daughter to do. I don't want my daughter to be like Kamala. She's a puppet.
No, my God.
She's a puppet. And that's gross. Women should not be like that. Ever.
Yeah. Tucker asked RFK what he was going to do what's next for him now that the announcement is over, the rally's over, what's next? And RFK is excited to get to work.
My last question, what happens now? You had this kind of amazing announcement with Donald Trump on Friday. It's now Monday, I think, which is 3 days ago. How do you spend from here until Election Day?
I'm going to work to get him elected. And I'm working with the campaign. We're working on policy issues together. I've been asked to go onto the transition team and, to help pick the people who will be running the government. And I'm looking forward to that.
It's a great interview, you guys. You really need to see the whole thing.
I know. I can't wait to watch the whole thing. Yeah.
It's going to be something.